Black billionaire poses as janitor on blind date, but falls for the waitress who saw the real him. The expensive Italian restaurant buzzed with conversation as Marcus Thompson adjusted his janitor's uniform one final time before walking through the front entrance. At 34, he was the billionaire CEO of Thompson Tech Industries. But tonight, he was pretending to be Mike, a night shift custodian, for what promised to be the most unconventional blind date of his privileged life. "This is completely ridiculous," he muttered to himself, clutching the single red rose his assistant had insisted he carry. "But if she's really interested in my money instead of me as a person, this should expose that pretty quickly." Marcus had agreed to this elaborate deception after his best friend Trevor set him up with the perfect woman, another successful professional who supposedly shared his interests and ambitions. After years of dating women who were more interested in his net worth than his character, Marcus was desperate to meet someone who would value him for who he actually was, rather than what he could provide financially. The hostess looked confused when Marcus approached in his custodial uniform. "Sir, I think you might be lost. The service entrance is around back. Actually, I'm here for dinner. I have a reservation under Mike Thompson for 7:30. Her expression shifted to barely concealed disdain as she led him to a small corner table, clearly assuming he was some kind of prank or mistake. Marcus noticed several other diners staring at his work clothes with obvious disapproval, whispering about inappropriate dress codes and restaurant standards. As he waited nervously for his blind date to arrive, Marcus watched the restaurant staff moving efficiently through their evening routines. One waitress in particular caught his attention. A beautiful young white woman with shoulder-length blonde hair and bright blue eyes who treated every customer with genuine courtesy regardless of their appearance or obvious wealth level. When she approached his table with water and bread, her name tag read, "Emma. Good evening. I'm Emma, and I'll be taking care of you tonight. Can I start you with something to drink while you wait for your party?" Unlike the hostess and other staff members, Emma showed no judgment about his unusual attire or presence in the upscale restaurant. Her smile was warm and authentic, and she spoke to him with the same respectful professionalism she had shown to the wealthy couple at the adjacent table. "Just water for now, thank you. I'm waiting for someone who's running a few minutes late." "No problem at all. Take your time and let me know if you need anything while you wait." As Emma moved to her other tables, Marcus found himself more interested in watching her interactions with customers than worrying about his impending blind date. Despite working in an expensive restaurant where tips depended on pleasing wealthy clientele, she remembered personal details for every guest, offered genuine recommendations, and somehow made every person feel valued and welcome. 20 minutes later, his phone buzzed with a text from Trevor. "Sorry, man. She saw you through the window and said she wasn't interested in dating the help." Her exact words. Dodged a bullet there. Marcus stared at the message, feeling both disappointed and oddly relieved. His blind date had revealed her true character, without him even having to go through an entire evening of pretense. But watching Emma's genuine kindness toward everyone, including him in his janitor's uniform, gave him hope that authentic people still existed in his world of calculated relationships. Hello, my Stop Racism family. Thank you for tuning in today. Before we dive deeper into this beautiful love story, I want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your country and state in the comments below. Also, I'd love to know your thoughts. What did you think of the story so far? Do you believe love can truly conquer prejudice? Let us know in the comments. We love reading them. And trust me, your words motivate us to keep making these videos. Let's make this video reach at least 50 comments. Your support means the world to us, and it drives us to create even more meaningful content for you. So don't forget to comment, share, and keep spreading love. Rather than leaving immediately after being stood up, Marcus decided to order dinner and continue observing Emma's remarkable customer service skills. He found himself genuinely curious about someone who treated every person with such consistent kindness and professionalism, regardless of their apparent social status or economic situation. "I'm sorry your friend couldn't make it," Emma said when she returned to take his order, having obviously noticed he was dining alone. Her voice carried genuine sympathy rather than pity. "Would you like me to recommend something special to make up for the disappointing evening? That's very thoughtful of you. What would you suggest?" "The chef's special pasta is incredible tonight. And honestly, after a long day at work, sometimes comfort food is exactly what the soul needs." As Marcus ate the delicious meal Emma had recommended, he listened to conversations at nearby tables about appropriate dating expectations, social matching, and the importance of finding partners with compatible lifestyles and financial situations. "I would never date someone beneath my social level," declared a woman at the next table to her dining companion. "What's the point of building wealth and status if you don't use it to attract equally successful partners?" Her companion nodded in agreement. "Exactly. Love is wonderful in theory, but practical compatibility matters more in real relationships. You need someone who understands your world and can contribute to your lifestyle appropriately." Marcus thought about his own dating history, years of relationships with women who appreciated his penthouse apartment, private jet, and exclusive social connections more than his personality, values, or character. He had begun to wonder if genuine love was even possible for someone in his financial position, or if every potential partner would always be influenced by his wealth. Meanwhile, he watched Emma handle a difficult customer with grace and patience, never losing her composure even when faced with unreasonable demands and condescending treatment. A wealthy businessman was complaining loudly about his steak preparation while treating Emma dismissively, but she responded with professional courtesy and genuine problem-solving efforts. "Is everything tasting good?" she asked during one of her check-ins with Marcus, her concern appearing completely authentic rather than just professional courtesy. "It's excellent. You were absolutely right about the comfort food recommendation. I'm glad. Sometimes we all need a little extra care, especially when plans don't work out the way we hoped." Emma's natural empathy and genuine interest in his well-being struck Marcus as remarkably rare in his experience with people who usually wanted something from him. The following week, Marcus found himself returning to the same restaurant, officially to meet with potential business partners, but secretly hoping to see Emma again and learn more about the woman who had treated him with such genuine kindness despite his humble disguise. He arrived in his usual expensive business attire, custom-tailored suit, luxury watch, and the confident bearing of someone accustomed to commanding rooms full of executives and investors. The hostess, who had dismissed him the previous week, now greeted him with obsequious enthusiasm. "Mr. Thompson, we're so honored to have you dining with us again. Your usual private dining room is ready whenever you prefer." When Emma appeared to take his drink order, her professional demeanor remained exactly the same as it had been when she thought he was a custodian. She showed no additional deference or special treatment based on his obvious wealth and status. No change in her warm, respectful manner. "Good evening. It's nice to see you again. How are you doing tonight?" "Much better than last week, thanks to your excellent service and recommendation," Marcus replied, studying her face for any sign of changed attitude based on his transformed appearance. "I'm glad to hear that. Are you meeting colleagues tonight? Or would you prefer something from our lighter menu for individual dining?" Throughout the business dinner with his potential partners, Marcus found himself paying more attention to Emma's interactions with other customers than to the multi-million-dollar deal being discussed at his table. She maintained the same warm professionalism with everyone: wealthy executives, young couples on dates, elderly diners, and families with children, treating each person as if they were the most important guest in the restaurant. During a brief moment when his business associates stepped away to take phone calls, Marcus spoke with Emma more personally. "Can I ask you something? Do you remember serving a custodian here last week? Someone in work clothes who was stood up by his date?" Emma's expression grew thoughtful and slightly concerned. "Of course I remember him. He seemed like a really kind person who was having a disappointing evening. I hoped he was okay after his friend didn't show up." "What did you think about him?" "I thought he was polite, respectful, and seemed genuinely nice. He had kind eyes and treated me with more courtesy than some of our wealthiest customers do." She paused. "Why do you ask?" Marcus was struck by her consistent character assessment based on personal qualities rather than appearance or apparent economic status. 2 weeks later, Marcus deliberately returned to the restaurant during a slower weeknight, hoping to have a longer conversation with Emma without the pressure of business meetings or crowded dining rooms. "You're becoming one of our regular customers," Emma observed with a genuine smile as she seated him at a quiet corner table. "Same section as always? Actually, I was hoping we could talk when you have a break. I have something I'd like to discuss with you. Is everything okay? Did something go wrong with your previous visits?" "Everything's been perfect. I just have something personal I'd like to share, if you're willing to listen." During Emma's break 30 minutes later, she joined Marcus at his table with obvious curiosity about his mysterious request for conversation. "Emma, I need to tell you something that might sound strange. 2 weeks ago, I was the custodian who got stood up here, the man in work clothes who you treated with such kindness and respect." Emma stared at him in surprise, clearly trying to reconcile the wealthy businessman with the uniformed worker from her memory. "I don't understand. Why were you pretending to be someone else?" "I was tired of dating women who were more interested in my money than my character. My friend set up a blind date, and I decided to test whether she could see past superficial appearances to value me as a person. And what happened? She took one look at me through the restaurant window and decided she wasn't interested in dating the help, as she put it. But you treated me exactly the same way you treat everyone, with genuine kindness and respect, regardless of my apparent job or social status." Emma was quiet for several moments, processing this revelation and its implications. "Marcus, that's a pretty elaborate deception. How do I know this isn't some kind of test too?" "Because you've already passed every test that matters. You saw the real me when I was pretending to be someone else, and you valued me based on character rather than appearance or wealth." Over the following weeks, Marcus began visiting the restaurant regularly, not for business meetings, but simply to see Emma and gradually build a genuine friendship based on honest conversation and mutual respect. He learned that she was 25, working 2 jobs while trying to save money for college, and dreaming of eventually becoming a teacher to help children from disadvantaged backgrounds get better educational opportunities. Despite working long hours at the restaurant and a morning shift at a local coffee shop, she volunteered at a literacy program on weekends, teaching adults basic reading skills. "Why teaching?" Marcus asked during one of their conversations. "What draws you to education?" "I want to help kids who start life with fewer advantages, like I did. My mom worked 3 jobs to keep us afloat after my dad left, and I almost dropped out of high school because I had to work to help pay rent." Emma's voice carried both determination and compassion. "Education can change everything for a family, but someone has to believe in these kids and help them see their own potential." Marcus found himself increasingly attracted to Emma's resilience, work ethic, and genuine desire to serve others despite her own financial struggles. But he also worried that his wealth would complicate any potential relationship between them. "This is getting complicated," he admitted to Trevor during their weekly basketball game. "I care about her, but I'm a billionaire and she's working 2 jobs to save for community college. How can that possibly work?" "Maybe it works because she cared about you when she thought you were a janitor," Trevor suggested. "Isn't that exactly what you were looking for?" But Marcus couldn't shake his concerns about the practical realities of their vastly different financial situations and social backgrounds. How could he pursue a relationship with someone who might feel overwhelmed or uncomfortable with his lifestyle and resources? Meanwhile, Emma found herself looking forward to Marcus's visits and enjoying their conversations about everything from community service to career goals to family relationships. But she also sensed he was holding back something important about his life and circumstances. "There's something different about him," she confided to her roommate and coworker, Sarah. "He's thoughtful and asks genuine questions about my dreams, but I feel like he's not telling me everything about who he really is." "Maybe he's just private," Sarah suggested. "Some people take time to open up completely, especially successful business types." One Saturday morning, Marcus decided to visit the community center where Emma volunteered, curious to see this side of her life and work. He arrived in casual clothes, hoping to understand more about her dedication to literacy education and community service. He found Emma working patiently with adults who were learning to read for the first time, helping them sound out words and understand basic sentence structure with remarkable patience and encouragement. Despite being one of the youngest volunteers in the program, "Marcus, what are you doing here?" Emma looked up with surprise and genuine pleasure when she noticed him in the community center's main room. "I wanted to see your volunteer work. You talk about it with such passion. I was curious to learn more about what you do here. Are you interested in volunteering too? We always need people to help with basic math tutoring, computer skills, or just reading practice with students who need encouragement." For the next 3 hours, Marcus helped students practice basic math calculations, assisted with computer literacy lessons, and spent time with older adults who were working toward their GED certificate. He was amazed by the program's impact on people's lives, and Emma's obvious skill in providing both educational support and emotional encouragement to learners who often felt embarrassed about their limited academic backgrounds. "You're really good at this," commented Mrs. Rodriguez, the program coordinator, as Marcus helped a middle-aged man understand fractions for a construction job application. "Have you considered education work? I've never thought about it, but today has been really eye-opening about how much basic education can change someone's life opportunities." During their lunch break, Emma and Marcus walked through the neighborhood surrounding the community center, and she explained the challenges many residents faced in accessing educational opportunities due to work schedules, family responsibilities, and financial limitations. "This is why I want to eventually become a teacher," she said, pointing to several blocks where children played in areas with limited resources and few educational programs. "Kids in neighborhoods like this one are just as smart and capable as children in wealthy suburbs, but they don't get the same chances to develop their potential. That's an incredible goal. What would it take to make that dream a reality? Years of saving money for college, building teaching credentials, and finding ways to serve communities that really need dedicated educators rather than just taking the highest-paying positions." Marcus realized that Emma's dreams aligned perfectly with his own values about using resources to create opportunities for underserved communities. But he still hadn't told her about his financial capacity to help make her educational vision possible. How's this story hitting you so far? Tell us in the comments. If you're loving it, type 1. If not, type 0. We want to know what you think. The following week brought complications when Marcus's social circle discovered his regular visits to the restaurant and his growing friendship with a waitress. His business associates and family members expressed concerns about appropriate relationship choices for someone in his prominent position. "Marcus, you're a billionaire CEO," his sister Patricia pointed out during their monthly family dinner. "Dating a restaurant server creates all kinds of complications for your business reputation, social standing, and her comfort level with your lifestyle. Emma is intelligent, hardworking, and genuinely caring. She's saving money for college while working 2 jobs and volunteers her free time helping adults learn to read. Why should her current employment define her worth as a person? It's not about her worth as a person," Patricia continued. "It's about practical compatibility. How can someone from such a different background understand the pressures and responsibilities that come with your position? And how will she feel comfortable in your social world?" Marcus's business partner, James, raised similar concerns during their weekly strategic planning meeting. "I'm not questioning her character, but consider the optics. Thompson Tech Industries CEO dating a waitress could affect investor confidence and board relationships. The business world has certain expectations about executive partnerships. Since when do my personal relationships affect quarterly earnings or technological innovation?" Marcus asked, becoming increasingly frustrated with everyone's focus on appearances rather than character. Meanwhile, Emma faced her own social pressures when her friends and coworkers learned about her growing friendship with a wealthy businessman who frequented her restaurant. "Emma, be careful," warned her roommate Sarah, who was protective of her friend's trusting nature. "Rich men don't seriously date working-class women unless they want something temporary and exciting." "Marcus isn't like that," Emma protested. "He's genuine and treats me with real respect, more than most people I've dated." They all seem genuine until they get bored and go back to dating women from their own social class, Sarah added with concern. Don't let yourself get hurt by building unrealistic expectations about someone who lives in a completely different world, unable to continue the relationship with such a significant secret between them. Marcus finally invited Emma to dinner at his penthouse apartment, determined to reveal his true identity and discuss the future of their growing connection. "Marcus, this place is incredible," Emma said, looking around the luxurious space with obvious amazement. "What exactly do you do for work? I realize I've never gotten a clear answer about your career." "That's what I need to talk to you about. Emma, I haven't been completely honest with you about who I am and what I do." He spent the next hour explaining his position as CEO of Thompson Tech Industries, his billionaire status, and the original janitor deception that had brought them together. Emma listened with growing surprise and some hurt about his prolonged secrecy. "So, when we first met, you were testing me? Seeing if I would treat a custodian with basic human decency?" "Initially, yes. But everything that's developed between us since then has been completely genuine. You saw the real me before you knew about any of this." Marcus gestured around his expensive apartment. "Marcus, I don't know how to process this. You're incredibly wealthy, and I'm working 2 jobs just to save money for community college. How can that possibly work as a real relationship? The same way it's been working for these past weeks, based on genuine care, shared values, and mutual respect. Your dreams of helping disadvantaged children get better education align perfectly with my values about using resources responsibly to create opportunities." Emma was quiet for several long minutes, clearly wrestling with the implications of his revelation and what it meant for their relationship. "What do you want from me, Marcus? What does a billionaire want with someone like me? I want someone who values character over bank accounts, someone who sees people's worth beyond their job titles or social status. I want you, Emma, the woman who treated a custodian with kindness and works to help adults learn to read despite your own financial struggles." The following week brought a crisis when photos of Marcus and Emma together were published in a business gossip blog, speculating about the unlikely romance between the tech billionaire and his waitress girlfriend, with obvious implications about appropriate social matching. The article attracted unwanted attention from both the media and Marcus's professional associates, who expressed concerns about the relationship's impact on his business reputation and Thompson Tech Industries' public image. "This is exactly what we were worried about," James told Marcus during an emergency board meeting. "The story makes you look like you're having a midlife crisis, and it makes the company look unstable and unprofessional. My personal relationships have no bearing on our quarterly performance or technological innovations," Marcus replied firmly. Meanwhile, Emma faced her own challenges when the media attention brought reporters to the restaurant and community center, asking invasive questions about her relationship with Marcus and her motives for dating someone so wealthy. "Are you planning to quit your jobs now that you're dating a billionaire?" one reporter asked as she tried to leave her evening shift. "Do you think this relationship is serious? Or is he just experimenting with dating outside his social class?" another journalist pressed. "No comment," Emma replied. But the constant scrutiny was overwhelming and embarrassing for someone who had always valued her privacy and independence. The pressure intensified when Marcus's family suggested he should end the relationship to protect both his business interests and Emma's privacy and emotional well-being. "You care about her, so protect her from this media circus," Patricia argued. "Let her finish saving for school and build her teaching career without the complications of dating a public figure." Emma also faced pressure from her own support system to end the relationship before it became more complicated and potentially harmful to her goals. "This level of wealth disparity never works long-term," Sarah warned. "You'll always feel like the poor girlfriend, and he'll eventually want someone from his own social class who can fit into his business world." Both Marcus and Emma realized they faced a choice between protecting themselves from public scrutiny and social pressure, or fighting for a relationship that had brought genuine happiness and authentic connection to both their lives. After a week of media attention and social pressure from both their families and friends, Marcus made a decision that surprised everyone in his professional and personal circles. Instead of ending the relationship to protect his business reputation, he chose to publicly support Emma and their connection. He arranged a press conference where he addressed the speculation directly and honestly. "I've been asked about my relationship with Emma Carter, and I want to set the record straight. Emma is an intelligent, hard-working woman who works 2 jobs while saving money for college and volunteers her free time teaching adults to read. She treated me with kindness when she thought I was a janitor, and she continues to inspire me with her dedication to serving others despite her own financial challenges." Marcus looked directly into the cameras. "If dating someone based on character rather than bank account balance damages my business reputation, then I question what kind of business relationships I want to maintain anyway." Meanwhile, Emma made her own decision to trust their connection despite the social and media pressures. She met Marcus at the restaurant where they had first connected, wearing her waitress uniform as a reminder of how their relationship had begun. "Marcus, I've been thinking about everything you've shared with me, and I want you to know that I fell for the person who asked genuine questions about my dreams and treated my volunteer work as important," she said, as they sat at the same corner table where he had first been stood up. "I don't care about your money, but I do care about your values and the way you treat people. If you're willing to help me pursue my teaching dream someday, not as charity, but as partners who share the same goals of helping others, then I want to try making this work. Are you sure? The media attention and social complications aren't going to disappear just because we decide to be together." "I'm sure. You saw the real me when I was just a waitress trying to save money for school, and I saw the real you when you were pretending to be a janitor. Everything else is just external noise that doesn't matter if we genuinely care about each other." 2 years later, Marcus stood in the bright, modern classroom of the Carter Thompson Community Learning Center, the educational facility he and Emma had built together in the underserved neighborhood where she had always dreamed of teaching. The center provided free educational programs for both children and adults who needed academic support and job training opportunities. "We've served over 1,500 students in our first year," Emma announced to the crowd gathered for the center's anniversary celebration, wearing professional attire with her new title, Director of Community Education. "And we've helped 43 adults earn their GED certificates while providing after-school tutoring for over 200 children." Marcus watched with pride as Emma described their innovative educational model, which combined his business expertise and resources with her teaching knowledge and deep understanding of community needs. "The most important thing we've learned," Emma continued, "is that effective education requires treating every student with respect and believing in their potential, regardless of their background or current academic level." After the celebration, as they walked through the computer lab, where adults learn job skills during evening classes, Marcus reflected on how much both their lives had changed. "You know what you taught me?" he asked Emma as they sat in the children's reading corner, surrounded by books donated by community members. "That real success isn't about accumulating wealth or impressing business associates. It's about using whatever resources you have to create opportunities for others and build something meaningful together. And you taught me that love can overcome any social expectations when 2 people genuinely see and value each other's character," Emma replied, taking his hand. "You fell for a waitress who was struggling to save money for college, and I fell for a man who was brave enough to pretend to be a janitor to find authentic love." Their love story had proven that when someone sees past appearances to value genuine character, they can build not just personal happiness, but positive change that transforms entire communities. Marcus had found the authentic love he was searching for, and Emma had found a partner who supported her dreams of serving others through education. And they lived happily, purposefully, and authentically ever after, proving that sometimes the most important disguise is simply being your true self and letting someone see the real you.